Damn.
Alright guys, welcome to another video. This one is just a little update on the machines. We didn't film much of the installs of any of this stuff. It's not really a big deal. I mean, it kind of is. I don't know, but
we're kind of rushing to get rid of MOAB.
That's the biggest reason. So our MOAB trip is a go. We've mentioned it a couple times that we weren't positive, I think. But yeah, we're definitely going. So it was kind of last minute crunch to get some things that we needed. And as you guys seen in the last video, I broke a front axle, so we had to fix that. Had to get another one as a spare. Had some other stuff that we'll get into with my machine. And we'll just briefly say quick, I had some issues with my winch and bumper setup, and I had some issues with my front diff. So yeah, we'll get to that in a couple minutes. But first, you know, Billy's got some upgrades, and one more thing is the name is official.
Yeah, it is Tippy.
Tippy, T-I-P-P-Y. May sound like Ticky, but it's Tippy. So, got some stickers on there for that, and they're pretty cool, I think.
I think they turned out so.
Yeah.
That's pretty mint.
So why don't you tell them a little bit what you got done?
So, I don't think we did talk anything about limit straps, did we? Back in the days?
No, so I think that's all new. You got limit straps. I don't think they know anything about that.
Yep, so I went with, so I wasn't running a front sway bar. So I wanted, people say you can run with or without limit straps. I just decided it's worth the peace of mind just to have them. So I did do front limit straps. They're sandcraft. And then they come in like a kit of all of them. So then I ended up doing the rear too. So it has limit straps on all four corners, and I also took the rear sway bar off. It was off.
For the cliffs?
Yeah, the cliff strip, it was off, and I liked it. So yeah, so it's running limit straps all around. And
that was without the limit straps in the rear. So for the cliff strip, he just threw them on the front, and then disconnected the rear sway bar, and didn't really have time to throw the rears on. So we haven't ran it with the rear limit straps, but I'd only assume it would be an improvement over no limit straps.
Yeah, I don't know. The biggest thing I did them on the front, it wasn't because of like braking axles or whatever, like some people say. You know, the droop isn't crazy, but I wanted it like so it doesn't pop up because I felt like it'd backflip on everything. So it's all just in my head. I just said, you know, whatever. I just did it. It can't hurt anything, right?
Yeah, right. It can only help.
You know, they're not that expensive, so I just decided to do those for peace of mind, I guess.
Right.
Also, we did the performance side-by-side bushings tie rods on it.
Those things are beef.
Yeah, they're pretty serious. I couldn't be more happy with them. The fit and finish and everything went together really good. And
other than some of the tie rod, like out there that thread onto the stock stud, right? These do not.
Yeah, so there's like, it's in the trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a little. I don't know if you want to show them on yours. This piece, where it gets kind of thin right there. I don't know what you'd call that.
Yeah.
Call that jobber there. But yeah, it came with a new one, and it's actually like the kryptonite one. So it's like, I don't know what it's really made for, but it's a kryptonite end, so it's super beefy. So I don't know. Everything's just. It seems really beefy. Yeah. From all the research I've done and.
I just figured I'd mention that because I know you were looking for one that came with.
Yeah.
So I figured if anybody's watching and they got a Turbo S and they're in the market for some tie rods, maybe they, you know, want the full setup as well. Because like mine just screwed on to the stock rack. which, whatever. I mainly did tie rods because I was trying to eliminate the bump steer, which, for the record, it helped a lot. Like, I mean, it seems a lot better, so.
Yeah, it does.
I don't think I mentioned that in any videos. I'm sure you guys have noticed, though, if you were curious about it. All right, so now for the biggest change, I'd say, since the last time you guys have seen it.
So, probably gonna get some heat for this, but I did take all the stock axles off the rig, and I went with the Super Atv X300s. And the reasoning behind that is trying to build this thing so it never breaks. I never broke a stock one, they're all still good. Which they will be for sale if anybody wants them, because I actually have other spares. But I don't know. I don't want to break. So these were these were the good options that I think I found. So I looked into RCVs or Turners, and these are supposed to be similar to strength, if not the same. So what Super ATV claims, anyways. I mean, they're all 300M shafts and everything. The only thing different about these is they are a little cheaper. And they're supposed to like flex when you hit. So if you take like a hard hit to one wheel, the shaft itself should actually eat it before it like travels through the rest of your drivetrain. So it's a really smart and ingenious idea if it actually works.
Yeah, right.
I haven't even driven it yet. We just got them on. So we'll get back to you. I mean, you guys will see if I break one or whatnot. But even if I do, they do have a 3-year warranty versus, RCV I think's a year. And Turner's is like 90 days or something. So the warranty's really good.
I don't think RCV is even, I think they're down in the days now too.
Oh, are they?
I'm pretty sure. I may or may not have been looking, but not yet.
So the warranty is worth it to me. I mean, if they're as strong as they say they are with that warranty, I don't think I'll have any issues with them.
Right.
So only time will tell.
And where'd you get those through?
I got those through Southern Powersports, Tyler Downs. I mean, if you guys need anything, even if it's not on their website, hit him up and he will find it or do anything he can in his power to help anybody out. He's really good for that. Basically everything I got for my build has been from him. And we do have a 10% off discount code through them, and it's Blown Budget Offroad. I think it's at checkout, you can enter that in, and it's for 10% off.
I think so. Or if you guys get a hold of him on Facebook or call him or something, you could just tell him that, we sent you, and I'm sure he'll give you the same discount, if not better, who knows. But he is a dealer for limit straps too, so if, hearing our discussions on limit straps, if you guys want to go that route, we went Sandcraft, so he is a dealer for them as well. But I think that kind of wraps up the axles, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So that covers
how they hold up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they'll be tested. I'm sure of it.
I think they'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, nobody really knows. There's some people running them, but
yeah, that's another thing why I wanted to really try them, is because there's not much out on them. A lot of people bash Super ATV, but I've heard really good things. Like the Rhino 2.0s, they're a pretty good axle. So if these are better than those, I'd presume these are going to be good axles.
Right.
You can't always just go through and see what people comment on the old Facebook, because half of them have never even ran anything from them.
No, they just hear Super ATV and say it's junk.
So we're going to try them out. I'm happy with my purchase so far. I haven't even probably got like 10 feet on them.
Can't say the same for your shock bolts, but
easy there. So yeah, well, speaking of that, so these bolts, these are the bolts that come with your Sandcraft limit straps, and I installed the rears. And I was at work, and he came out here, whatever day it was.
Yeah, it was the next day after we installed them, and we installed it on the lift, obviously. Backed it out and parked it right where it is. Just both rigs were parked over here. And I walked in the shop the next day, and I just seen a nut laying on the ground with like threads in it. So I knew there was foul play involved. I'm like, what the heck? And we just cleaned the floor, I think, too. So it was like, there shouldn't be anything.
Yeah.
And then I seen the little spacer that you put on the backside to put the strap on. And that was on the floor too. I'm like, dang. So I was checking all the bolts. First I did all the lowers and didn't see any, and then I looked up top and I found the culprit.
So one broke.
So yeah, we don't know They don't know why or how, or I mean, the only thing is either A, it was just a bad bolt, and you know, in manufacturing,
Yeah.
or it could have been over torqued. I mean, it is a shock bolt, so we were reefing on them, but you know, I don't think.
Especially after my other problem. So when I did the front limit straps, my
Oh yeah,
bottom
that's
shock
something.
bolt was
Yeah,
banana.
I don't think we. No, we definitely didn't mention that because we didn't do a video on
No,
it.
yeah.
So yeah, when he pulled his shock bolts out, the bottom one was bent like, I mean, significantly bent. You
Yeah.
know, noticeably, I'll call it, which is interesting.
Yeah. It's fine.
So
50 miles on
we have like a running joke now that just because we break everything and just the weirdest things that are supposedly good, you know, happen to us, that it must just always be a fluke thing. So turns out we have a lot of flukes. So other than that, I think the last thing that we did to your rig is seats.
Yep. So just got those in.
These things are sick.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. So they're BS sand, which is probably a lot of you probably never heard of, and to be honest, me really including.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about them.
So I was talking to Tyler Downs, the guy from Southern Powersports, and I wanted to get seats because I don't know if you guys know, I broke my back once already, so
Yeah,
bouncing around, hee-hawing in the machine all day kind of messes me up sometimes.
I don't think that's ever seen the light of video.
Now they know, so
Well, now they're all gonna ask. They better just give them a quick why or how.
So
if you don't mind.
I got hit by a concrete truck at work. So
Because I know that would be in the comments. Of
yeah, so
how.
yeah, so my back is fused. So there's like I have 2 discs fused in my lower back. So there's like metal rods and then screws that go in to hold my spine together. So I mean,
That's why he had Simpson seats in the YXZ. That's why he's putting seats in here. He's trying to get the best he can.
yep. And so far, I mean, I just put these in about an hour ago,
Yeah.
but they seem like a huge improvement over.
Oh yeah,
over
they
stock.
really hug you. So I mean, that's obviously just gonna make things a lot better.
Yeah, I'm really pumped. I mean, the quality and everything, and I've heard nothing but good things about this company now that I've looked into it more, and they're very reasonably priced. So, yeah, I'm super happy, and we'll get back, we'll do like a kind of a review on them once I get a ride. I mean, we're gonna be in MOAB for a week, so be a
Yeah,
lot of seat
right.
time in it then.
Yeah, for sure. So stick around for a review on the seats, and I don't know when we'll do it, but after we get some good hard miles on the axles and stuff, we'll make a video talking about those, and if we had any issues. We're hoping we don't, but just there's not much info out on them, so it'd be cool to kind of throw out a video, and have clips and stuff showing that like they were beat and not broke.
Yeah,
Hopefully they're
right.
beat though.
I'm gonna try. My confidence is slowly growing. I'm sure you guys seen in the last video at the
Yeah.
clips, I'm starting to get there. A cage is really gonna help.
Yeah.
Which is another thing in the news. I mean, it's like 3 months away, but we're finally on a list to get our cages done. But
So we won't say where we're getting those from. It'll be a surprise, but hopefully they should be pretty sick.
yeah, and I'll feel way safer.
Yeah,
in the
right.
Cage.
So
That about wraps it up for mine. We're gonna
I'm gonna move on over to mine now. Alright guys, so moving on to my rig. Got a couple, nothing too major. I guess my biggest thing would be these wheels. So these things are the Alba. I think they're like the Baja Crushers or something like that. But they're the Alba wheel. It's a 3-piece wheel, so it breaks down into 3 pieces. They seem really sick. And probably the biggest reason I went with them is I was after like that color, which we mentioned in the beginning, and that's the color that I'll be going with my cage and stuff. So it doesn't really match anything now, but it's not really out of place either because it's just a black rig. So I really like them. I'm pretty hyped on them. They seem like a really good quality wheel. I will say that it doesn't seem like they have as much like bolt protection. They don't have as much bolt protection as like Billy's wheel, but there wasn't much options out there for me trying to get a wheel that was this color, and I didn't want to get a wheel. Not only that, but I wanted like a beadlock ring that was like, I don't know, like a design to it instead of just like a ring. I don't know.
Yeah, so he's talking about like mine. It's just like there's no real dish or nothing. It's kind of meh. And you come over here, these bougie things.
Yeah, they're sick.
And it's like deep dish pizza over here. Bet
So,
the rain's sick.
I'm pretty hyped on them. They look awesome, so time will only tell how they hold up. We actually, when we dismounted them, we noticed something, which the wheels are put away, but so you can't see. But it was slightly bent on one of the wheels. So it's kind of cool that I got wheels. I didn't get them because of that, because I didn't notice it until we took them apart. But I don't know what did it. It wasn't leaking, it was still holding air. It was just slightly bent. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't really know. I think I know what it was. I think it was just hitting a rock really hard in a creek off camera. You guys didn't see it. It was just a rock underwater. It was massive and just blasted into it. So I would assume that's what did it. But so with these are a 5+2, 14x7, and kind of regret the 14-inch thing, but I already had the 32-inch sticky Roxxzillas, and I still have really good life left on them, so I didn't want to upgrade tires or change tires or anything. And the only reason I say that is because I've been seeing, and my stock rims have like a bunch of scrapes inside the back of the wheel from rocks getting caught in there. And I guess with a 15, you know, you have more room, so it's harder to get a rock wedged in there, which only makes sense. But I went 14s because of my tires, so here we are. I did remove like the rock scrapers or whatever, I guess that's what they're called, and I've seen people say that that actually traps rocks in your wheel. So, and I only had the issue in the rear on mine. My fronts looked good. So, we'll see how that does. You know, I'm sure to stick around and I'll tell you if I don't have any more rocks that get stuck in there or whatever. Other than that, the width, so yeah, this is a 5+2 like we mentioned, and this is a XRS, so 72-inch wide, and it's 74 inches wide in the front and 74.5 in the rear. And yeah, I mean, I'm
So how's
pretty happy with
that?
it.
I mean, compared to mine, you know, like you guys know, mine's 75 inches wide
With a 6.1.
with a 6.1. So this is an inch deeper dish wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, each side, and it's still, you know,
Which,
it's still within, you know, what mine is. Mine actually measured 74 stock, so.
right. Which I wanted to go with a 6.1 wheel just to keep it skinnier, but there's just not very many options out there for like a good looking 6.1. He's got one of them, and they have, you know, like red accents, and it's just not what I was after at all. And I didn't want to go through the trouble of getting a wheel like this and then tearing it down and getting different colors powder coated and stuff. So that's why I went with the 5.2. A lot of people run them, have no issues. So hopefully it should be good, and I'm still skinnier than him, so doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you know, but it is what it is. So moving on, we've got some sandcraft front limit straps, and we've got a pretty cool spacer and stuff to mount them. They bolt through where the sway bar goes.
Yeah, and that does retain the sway bar as well. Obviously, it's unhooked on this, but it just goes through the top and like through bolts all the way to the bottom there.
Yeah, so pretty cool setup on that. You know, they do cost a little bit more for the Can-am, but just the geometry of the Can-am.
See it?
Huh?
I was gonna say the Heim even says USA on
yeah,
it.
made in America.
Made in America. That is.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I went with the sandcraft ones. Like we said before, you guys can get those through Tyler Downs at Southern Powersports. And probably I wanted to go CT Raceworks just because I've had the rest of their front end going on. But with everything going on in the world, their limit straps were not available, and it was just no known ship date or anything. Like they just weren't getting them from their providers. So that's why I was just like, no, whatever. I was gonna get the shock brace with the limit straps. However, I really wanted limit straps before I went to MOAB, so I went ahead and ordered these. These were in stock, and here we are. So should do its job for sure.
Why did you think you wanted limit straps?
So as you guys seen, I broke an axle on the last trip. Kind of broke it. Yeah, I mean I was flogging it up a muddy dirt hill or whatever, but I don't know. So every time I would like jump a ledge or hit a jump in general, not every time, but sometimes, it would just fully extend really hard and no front sway bar hooked up, like I said. and I would get like loud popping noises and stuff. And it almost seemed like it was always generating from the driver's front, which is the axle I broke. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence or if it was something to do with, you know, this side extending and the axle is binding. Who knows? So maybe it stress cracked the axle and one of those big hits, you know, while on power. It's really a mystery. So before I go and, you know, full send on axles, which it's more to it for me than him, because he knows he's sticking with that diff, you know, and that kind of brings me into my next topic.
Oh
here.
yeah.
But
Well, I want to add one more thing too about the limit straps. So they are adjustable,
yeah,
which is cool. So like mine aren't, but with how these are set up and where it's mounted, there's that threaded rod, so you can adjust them to limit. I mean, I think you could probably go maybe an inch either way
yeah,
from like normal. And I think we set it at what, like 1 3/4
yeah,
limiting.
yeah. So it
From
goes
bottom.
up 1 3/4 from full droop with no sway bar. So you know it's a little higher,
And it should
and
stretch.
it should stretch.
So
So we
hopefully,
were hoping to net around like 1.5 inches, so it should stretch it back down 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, who knows. But I think that pretty much wraps up the limit strap thing. So the popping and the loud noises, obviously it was the suspension. It could have been the suspension unloading and then the shocks popping, I don't know. Or it could have been the axles, you know, binding or something. Not really sure, but before I spend the money and go with good axles, I figured it'd be cool to know, now that I have front limit straps, you know, that there's no way that that was the cause of a broken axle. If I break an axle, it's just not strong axles. So prior to that, I was super impressed with my axles. I mean, they were holding up, they were taking a beating. So that was really cool. And I'm not kind of going a little bit two different ways here, you know, like he's going full build. And it's harder for me to do that, like, especially when it comes to axles, because I don't want to put money into axles. So for those of you guys that don't know, this is a smart lock diff. So if I were to buy axles all the way around for this machine, and then say I blow the diff, which hasn't happened yet, but say I blow the diff, you then have to buy upgraded the inner stubs that go into the diff, and then you'd have to take your axles apart. And so it's just like, you spend more money, you know, and then you'd have stubs that are worthless because you don't have a diff that you can run them on. So it's harder for me to just upgrade the axles. So for now, I'm just gonna stick with stock. Plus, I have a mentality of hoping to keep like a weak link. Like I'd hate to put axles in it and break a drive shaft or break a trans or, you know, who knows. Obviously, if I keep breaking stuff to where it's really bad, then I'm gonna do it, you know what I mean? But as of now, I'm just gonna hold out like this. But probably the biggest hold up is, you know, I'd be more looking into axles if I didn't have the whole diff thing. So I'm not just gonna buy some axles that like aren't, I'm not gonna spend, I don't know how much they cost, probably $200 a pop for like, you know, a Rhino or something similar in that area, and then still be like, I don't know if it's bulletproof, you know, like if I'm gonna buy axles, I'm gonna send it on something good like RCVs or Turners, but I don't wanna spend more money to get, I don't think they make those for this.
no, they
I feel
don't.
like it was giving me that look, but I don't think they make those for this, and if they do, definitely not for the Smart Lock, or for the Halo 30.
Tough
which
break.
is the route I would go. So anyways, go on the front diff. So we threw this thing up on the lift after the cliffs to fix the axle, and the next day it was on the lift, stayed on the lift. I came in here and there was a puddle of oil right underneath the front diff. So
Ooh, there's still foul play over here from that.
yeah,
Not good. Fresh floor too, man. What the heck?
Trader left his mark.
Even brought it over here too.
So yeah, I mean, we're not really sure. I mean, I guess we're pretty sure. It's kind of a weird thing. So, I was pretty paranoid at that point. We had already fixed the axle, so we literally were already in there. And it seemed like it was leaking from the driver's side / bottom area. And we decided, because we're going to MOAB, to pull it apart. Maybe I could have overnighted parts if it was blown or something. So we decided to pull it apart, and you can pull this driver's side cover. I don't know if you can really see that. I mean, you can see some of it, but you can pull these bolts out. If you pull, you know, your axle out, you pull, and your 4 diff bolts on the bottom, they can lay the diff over a little bit, and you can pull that side cover. Because I guess they when they do break, if they break, it spits out like a tooth from a side gear or spider gear or something. And the ring gear eats it, and it can either throw it through the case, which we couldn't find any holes in the case, so that's why we were like, man, maybe. And then when you look into it, I guess they throw the spider gear into like the O-ring on this driver's side case cover, causing the O-ring to leak. And I probably wouldn't have pulled it apart if I wasn't so paranoid about front diff breakage from the YXZ days. So maybe that's my paranoia setting in. I don't know. But another big reason was MOAB, you know, so it's like if it was blown, at least I could have tried to overnight some parts and get it back together, you know, right.
Yeah, it was pretty easy to pull it apart
Yeah,
too,
it really
just to
wasn't
look,
bad.
and you, when you pull that cover off, all you really,
Obviously drain your fluid first.
yeah,
So mine was drained. That was my first, so going back, that was my first thing, was I drained the fluid, and I was just gonna service it anyways. And I mean, it had some metal flake in it, but I don't know, it is one of the, it's the second change on it now. We did one on the first service and did it again. And it had some metal in it, but not like chunks of metal, it was just kind of like wear metal, which from my understanding, it could be from that like clutch packing stuff. I don't know, there's some magic going on.
usually the break, I mean, it's still so new too, stuff
Yeah,
should be
right.
breaking, and I mean, I just did mine too, we didn't really mention, but I did a full service on mine, and there was, you know, some metal flake and everything just from breaking, you know.
Right. So there wasn't much concern there, so that's when we decided to pull the plug and rip it apart and see. So we pulled it apart and everything seemed fine. The O-ring seemed fine. There was no metal in the bottom of the diff. You could actually see in the bottom of the diff, and everything seemed fine. So that was pretty cool. So it's definitely not blown as of yet. So threw it back together, and that basically left us with like the drain plug, because it wasn't coming from anywhere high. It didn't come out of the axle seals when we pulled the axles. All that stuff was dry. That was our first thought. Maybe some dripped down, but it leaked too much for it to be that. So then, must have been the drain plug. So I don't know. And everything looks fine, you know.
It did have a little, the O-ring did have a little bit of foul play on it.
Yeah.
It
I
had a
don't think
little,
it was-
a little rip in it.
Yeah, but not like through the O-ring. Like when you say that, that's like, well, obviously it's that, but
No, it wasn't.
it wasn't like ripped through. It was just like
No.
like on the inner part where the bolt goes through. It had like a nick.
Yeah,
So I don't know. Maybe it was that, but
it's all kind of interesting. I mean,
yeah.
It's-
And of all things to leak, it's gotta be my front diff. Like,
yeah, it's so hard to know too, because maybe, and didn't you say too that that O-ring on that cover could also possibly leak even without
Yes.
it chunking the diff?
Yeah, some people say that's just the O-rings leak.
So, you know, it could have been that. We did take it apart and obviously clean it up real good and then put it back on, and it seems to be pretty good. I think
Yeah,
this
so,
little,
I mean, it
the little
leaks a
spot,
little bit more, but
yeah, but it could be residual though. That's been sitting on the skid.
yeah, right. And it's hard to clean under there. It's got like a little pan to catch debris. No. So, I don't know, that kind of wraps up the diff. So we're rolling with it. We got a spare axle again, front and rear for MOAB. One day I'd love to go Halo 30 and RCB. I don't really want to spend the money, but I do want to just be in the point where I could full send this thing and not worry about it. I don't know. It's just a big mind game at this point. But anyways, moving forward, if anybody can get me a deal on that stuff, hit me up. But for now, we're going to roll with it and see what happens at MOAB. But moving on to the winch. So you guys didn't see anything from this. We forgot our cameras at home for the last trip, so filming was kind of hit or miss. But when I broke the axle, we were winching me up the hill that I broke on, and it just like locked up kind of thing, I think is what actually happened. So then Billy had to actually pull me up the rest of the way. And when we got back, it ended up the winch had broke. I think I threw it away already, but it had broke like the crossbar that goes across the top of the winch. And the cable was jammed into the drum, so it was like locked up the drum, and it wrecked a seal around the drum as well. So pretty unfortunate, and it's not the winch's fault, that's for sure. But and it's not really the bumper's fault either. So this is a Super ATV front bumper and winch mount. It's just a combination of the worn winch, this is a worn Axon 5500 winch. And it was just a bad combination of the two. So the way the winch mounts on these machines is, you know, the mounting plates go that way, the mounting poles. So you gotta spool the winch rope out like the top of the winch. And where it came out of the fairlead, it would cause it at full spool to like put pressure on like the brace holding the winch together. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. We probably should have grabbed some clips, but like we were saying, it was kind of crunch time. We had a lot to do, so sorry about that, guys, but you know, trying to explain it the best we can. All that I can say is there was no good way to route that cable through this winch through this bumper and fairlead with this winch. So it really sucked, but I was able to get new parts, luckily, and we rebuilt the winch and the stuff that was bad, and bolted her back together. And I was going to cut like a new hole in the fairlead, but everywhere I was going to cut a hole, it still seemed like it was going to get bound up into the winch. So I'm not the proudest of this, but trying to be transparent with you guys. And it sucks because I think some of you guys might be running this setup as well. I mean, you know, we learned. I'm trying to tell you now, this definitely isn't something I would normally film, but I'm trying to catch maybe some guys before they order this stuff. And so now I'm running it through here. So it's actually running on this chassis, or the front bumper tube as a fairlead, but it comes out of the winch like perfectly that way. And it, you know, if you're pulling down, it's going to rub on this tube, which is really nice and smooth. If you go left or right, it's just going to hit these tubes, which is all really smooth. And if you're winching into a tree for some reason, you know, it's going to rub right on this tree. So it's got like its own
It's like a bigger fairlead.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not too thrilled about it, but it is what it is. It's really no one to blame there either.
No, it's just like the wrong combination.
Yeah, and I was trying to get the best winch I could find, but in all reality, I probably should have just bought the Super ATV winch, since that's the bumper I already had, or gone with, you know, a different bumper that like Warren's recommends or something. I don't know. It just wasn't a good combo.
It's basically just a winch. Basically, just is supposed to mount flat.
Yeah.
Versus up against the frame rail, so like it's mounted like this instead of like that. And I think that's really the only issue. It's just the one bar, like he was talking about.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I mean,
it's just, I don't know. It's a real bummer because like I literally have nothing I can do other than run a different winch, which this one's already wired. I really love the winch, and you know, it's like, or change my bumper, which it's all done already. It's like, that's why I'm running it through here, and I don't see how I could have any issues because literally at full unwound and full spooled in, the winch rope hits nothing. So it should be good. It just looks weird. I wasn't gonna tell you guys because now you're giving me shit, but
most people probably wouldn't even be able to tell. It's
yeah,
the hook still comes out.
That's what I mean. If I didn't say anything, I don't think anybody would have noticed. But I do want to try and help you guys out if you were. Hopefully you didn't already. But gonna go with this winch and bumper setup. This is the issue that I ran into. So I think that's pretty much all I had. Limit straps, axle, and that. So yeah, guys, that wraps it up for my rig. So yeah, guys, just kind of an update video for you. Probably normally would have filmed more of the installs, considering we didn't film any of them, but you know,
It's all pretty self-explanatory. I mean, with wheels.
And like we said in the past, I mean, sure we did all this stuff, we didn't really film it, but we are trying to bring you guys the key points, and the key points are, you know, broken bolt with the limit straps, kind of a weird thing. So we mentioned it. You know, the winch stuff, had to mention that to try and eliminate other people running it. Or if you've got a fix for it, let me know. I mean, beats me. We stared at it for a while, and
yeah,
this is what we came up with. So maybe I could have found a new something. Honestly, I think you could run the Warren winch rotated with different bracketry if you built something. Or maybe there's a different bracket. I don't know. But like I said, we're leaving from MOAB, so.
Yeah, time was not on our side.
Yeah.
Especially with the front diff issue as well.
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, we were all pretty nervous about that, so we were kind of just like struggling to make sure everything was going to be good. So.
Plus, we had this thing. We were waiting till this was off the lift to do full service and tear it down and do full axles, and and limit straps, so we weren't really, you know, it's not like we were just like, oh, we could just chill and work on this for, you know, a couple days, really make everything right, but you get it. So, thanks for watching, guys, and next video we should be headed to MOAB.
Yep, should be our trip down there, so we couldn't be more excited.
Yeah, for
It's
real.
gonna be a good one. You guys won't want to miss it.
No, we've been planning this for a good year now.
Yeah, probably a year.
Yeah, for real.
Supposed to be there right now.
I think we'd be back by now.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
Just think next week it's gonna be over.
Why you gotta think like that? That's depressing.
Back to work.
So yeah, we're going down there for a full week. We're leaving, you know, this video was filmed on a Thursday. And we're leaving Saturday morning. So just getting everything wrapped up basically today, loading all our tools and stuff in the trailer. And we're leaving Saturday morning. It's a 20-hour drive for us. So that begins our journey, and we're gonna try and bring you guys along. And yeah, hopefully you guys are excited for that. I mean, it should be some really good content, I think. And that wraps it up.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.